A mob turncoat says he made frequent death drives to New York from Philadelphia so he could get orders from Vincent the Chin Gigante on who should die back home. The only problem, he never actually talked with the Chin. Mike Sheehan reports.
2665 Grand Concourse.
And she has very serious damage in her head.
Police say they have extra plainclothes cops.
Then Congressman Gerald. Philip Leonetti was known among his ex-friends in organized crime as Crazy Phil, a handle earned by ordering the murders of 8 men and the personal execution of 2. In a deal with the feds, Crazy Phil did a whopping 5 years, 5 months in the can in exchange for his testimony. Leonetti told a jury he joined the Bruno family and followed his Uncle Nick, Little Nicky Scarfo, up the ladder of crime. In 1980, Philadelphia mob boss Angelo Bruno was blown away right in front of his home. In an unsanctioned hit, Scarfo was summoned to New York for a meeting with Vincent Chin Gigante and others, according to Leonetti. He testified that his uncle said Chin told him to kill everyone involved in the killing of Angelo Bruno. Everybody. Leonetti further testified that although rising to become underboss of the Bruno family, he never actually met the Chin, nor did he ever speak directly to him.
He's never talked to my brother. He doesn't know my brother. He probably met my brother today for the first time in the courtroom.
I don't see any credibility anywhere, and I think the judge, by using the word be skeptical of what these people say, said it all for us.
Leonetti will face a very tough cross-examination beginning tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the government is still negotiating with its other star witness, Sammy the Bull Gravano, who says he'd rather take the contempt charge than face cross-examination about his book deal. From Brooklyn Federal Court, Mike Sheehan.
Indictments were returned late today against the 4 suspects in the assassination of police officer Edward Byrne. Prosecutors were racing round the clock. Felony suspects must be set free in New York if there's no grand jury action against them within 6 days of arrest. Todd Scott, Scott Cobb, David McClary, and Philip Copeland are charged with second-degree murder and weapons possession.
Well, the police of the Bronx are looking for a man who attacks young girls on their way home from school. He uses some kind of a club or a hammer, hits them on the head. The entire thing, of course, has parents frightened and taking extra precautions to try to protect their kids. Frank Grimes reports.
With news of the recent attack spreading, many parents in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx were walking their children to school this morning.
I'm walking her to school because I heard the news today about the kids that got beat up, so I'm going to walk her to be careful.
Today, police released a sketch of the man who has attacked 4 girls between 12 and 17 years old, 2 last Friday and 2 yesterday. All 4 were attacked in their apartment buildings on their way home from school. Each was hit in the head with a blunt instrument. Police say none was sexually assaulted.
One of the girls' pants were pulled down, but she was not sexually assaulted. In one case, he made a statement to the girl. One of the girls, he said, "I want to have sex with you."
Did you speak English or Spanish?
English.
Injuries to the girls vary. 13-year-old Omer Vargas was attacked Friday afternoon in her building at 2665 Grand Concourse. Her relatives say the young girl was hit in the head a few feet from her 6th-floor apartment. That's all she remembers.
Well, he probably dragged it upstairs to probably to the roof or something. He was trying to get it up to the roof to rape her or just to get rid of her.
And he kept hitting her?
Yes, he did. As we could see over here, this is the 8th floor. And apparently it looks like he banged her head against the wall. As you can see, the blood is still there. And she has very serious damage in her head.
Police say they have extra plainclothes cops looking for the attacker, who is Latino, about 5 feet 5 inches tall, 150 pounds. If you have any information that can help the police, they want you to call this number, 212-583-0144. That's 583-0144. At the 52nd Precinct in the Bronx, I'm Frank Grimes, Fox News, Channel 5.
Yo, front line, 510, the 710, I'm back again, and so we send and extend. Peace to all, it's the plural oral B, the urban world of publicity, Afrocentricity, satellites coincide, unifying its time, the climb avidly, apparently reality, below zero, it makes you pale, the color from the bleach, 4 seasons, many reasons, equinox, equator, now who's the raider, who's the soul, who stole the surface, sacrifice, slice, commanding, I'm demanding, official awareness, we share this common understanding.
Well, it's fine, and I give my life before my words shall fall. Do me a favor, listen up, y'all. We got to activate social activity for one common cause. Jefferson mind or you will perish. Nigga, relax, yo. Tip past, we can let out. need no dog. My people sit seeking all freaking paths. Infrared, fake, flash, I may I say DJ away. Okay, we stay, hey, play afraid to shake who I might spray, who I release to say. You really dig it, man, really dig it, damn. Smack deep right in your mind. Jack blast, don't start signing off in time. Often giving off in the next in line.
Time will tell everything. Time will tell all. Understanding the inner mind's eye. Time, one of the deepest mysteries known to man. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. And as you continue to stay tuned, all fighters, understand, you better understand self before you try to understand others. Watch your back. Stay tuned again, tune again, tune again, tune again.
And just when you finally thought you mastered Rubik's Cube, its inventors come up with another gizmo to taunt your senses. Ben Farnsworth has a report on this new puzzler.
This is one of the most feared men in the world, Erno Rubik. Yes, he invented the Rubik Cube. Sold 100 million copies. Made the Hungarian professor of architecture a millionaire, and us frustrated.
For about 6 months when it first came out, I got quite frustrated with it. And I tried to get the book, but I eventually ended up like unsticking them and like resticking them.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Kids were solving it in less than 30 seconds back in 1981. Others also knew what to do with it, too. Way to go. Oh, that feels good. Again. This is Rubik's latest invention, his magic puzzle, an 8-panel, 3-dimensional mind twister.
What do you think of this gadget? Take a look at it. It's a lot different than the cube. Yeah, it really is. It looks a lot easier.
Heh. The Rubik's Cube had 43 quintillion possibilities. Look at all the zeros. The magic puzzle's configurations haven't even been calculated. Why would Rubik do such a thing to us?
You realize what you are able to do, what you are not, and you find all the time something new and something interesting, I believe.
You can actually solve this thing, right?
Yes, sure. That's my first job all the time.
At the St. Disco in Lower Manhattan, the puzzle premiered tonight. People twisted and turned the permutations in their brains, coolly and methodically progressing through the geometric configurations. I said coolly and methodically. If you don't want to solve the puzzle, you can make cute designs. How about a little fishy? That's our speed, right? This is the way Rubik's magic puzzle looks when it comes out of the box. This is the way it should look when you've solved it. Erno Rubik says it's simple. Sure it is. But don't worry, in about a year or so, they're going to come out with a pamphlet that'll tell you more how to use it. They gave me this one, and I'm glad, too, because the little box it comes in will make a nice water dish for my cats. Ben Farnsworth, News 4 New York.
Now, the water dish you can solve, no problem.
He's
but the water
frustrated already. It hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Rubik will be on Live at 5 on Monday, so perhaps we'll get to see if you really can.
I want to see what the finished product looked like. I didn't see it in the tape.
Yeah, I didn't either. I wonder how he made it. Well, it'd be interesting to know if he'll reveal how he made it.
Of course
so
not.
It could flip-flop every possible direction.
No way.
Thank you for joining us.
Have a nice weekend, and also a happy holiday.
Larry David claims he worked with a drug ring of about 30 rogue cops. They gave him cocaine to sell, then they tried to kill him when he took off with $1 million in profits. That's his story, and it'll come up in more detail when he goes on trial for shooting 6 police officers. Last week, he was acquitted of killing 4 drug dealers. But he's still in jail on those charges of shooting the cops, and that's where Pablo Guzman went to talk to him today.
The reason they came heavily armed because they knew what I had, because they gave it to me. You know, they supplied me with weapons, and they knew what I had, and that's why they came. Why would the police give you weapons? Well, I was dealing with drug traffic with them, and the drug traffic I was dealing with, they supplied us with, several colleagues of mine, they supplied us with guns and drugs.
And you realize that there's people at home that are going to hear this, and they're going to say, no, come on. The police against Larry Davis, whose word are we going to believe?
I can quote on these issues as in terms of witnesses that will testify that they actually seen the police give me drugs, and that several other people who also was involved with them was participating in this act, and they will come forward.
Larry Davis's version of his dealings with police officers is incredible, but whether or not you believe him, one thing is sure. His next trial for the shooting of 6 police officers, when he aims to introduce evidence on his behalf, is bound to be explosive, and it starts April 18th. From outside the Federal Metropolitan Correctional Center, Pablo Guzman, Fox News.
Mike Tyson isn't the only boxer in trouble. So is the IBF junior lightweight champion, Arturo Gatti. Police in Union City, New Jersey say he led them on a high-speed chase, then punched a couple of cops and threatened to kill them. He refused to take a breathalyzer test and faces a long list of charges. Arturo Gatti's just a lightweight compared with Mike Tyson. Today, the man with a heavyweight appetite showed up in New York just in time for a New York Minute. Ripped from the ring and splattered on a Lower East Side wall, Mike Tyson, bloody ear and all, scowling down at passers-by. It's the work of street artist Andre Charles, and the title says it all. If you can't beat 'em, eat 'em. A day to shine for New York's bravest. The fire department named 57 new firefighters out on Randall's Island today, along with one very special one.
Lieutenant James F. Hayes, ladder company 44.
Lieutenant Hayes surely needs the raise that comes with his new rank. You see, he's the proud new father of quadruplets, maybe a couple of future firefighters among them. Out at Flushing Meadows, a great day to be a kid. Kites got their first chance to try out the new Hall of Science playground. It's the largest hands-on exhibit in the Western Hemisphere. Rudy says New York is tops in tourism. The mayor unveiled some revised numbers today. They show tourism up 5% over last year. And that's our New York Minute.
Well, it's not just a nice place to visit.
More and more people want to live here. I can't blame them, Harry. Up next, why there's a land rush going on with New York, the prime destination.
And then the group that's making it easier to get abortion pills. Details in our Alive and Well section.
Somebody will listen to me.
New York used to be a nice place to visit, but not to live. And oh, how the times have changed. More people are visiting, and now a survey claims that more people, especially under 40, want to stay. Shepard Smith reports.
Where would you really like to live? Anywhere in the country. San Francisco, the water, the attitude. Orlando, family friendly, the mouse, all that. Maybe Chicago for some hoop, or Seattle for some tunes. Well, they're all on a list from a Harris poll out this morning. But on top, the #1 jonesing to get out of here and slide into their city in all of America?
New York is where I'd rather stay.
Whatever happened to nice place to visit, wouldn't want to live there? Well, apparently a lot of that's changed. You know, they've cleaned up the city to a great degree. They've gotten rid of a lot of the crime, too. But move here? I did that just a few months ago, and let me tell you, it's a hassle. First, you got to find a place to live. Apartments, impossible. Then you got to figure out how to pay for it, which is even more difficult for a million different reasons. So you got the world at your fingertips out there. There's nothing to want for, but it costs a fortune. It's loud, and the truth of the matter is, here in Gotham, we're running out of room.
Do we have room for them with the most densely populated city in America?
Mayor Rudy says we'll make room if you can hack it.
If I was just coming from Duluth, Minnesota, Boise, Idaho, and I was looking into the city, I'd be a little frightened of it, because I wouldn't know it.
It's crazy. You can do anything you want down there.
You make it here, you make it everywhere, because this state is like the dream of the world. You know what I mean?
I'm coming here to be a star. I admit it.
Moving in today, even. If she stole your idea, well, maybe just stay in Duluth.
Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
In New York, Shepard Smith, Fox News.
Shepard may have a point, but this is still the best place to live.
Absolutely
All right,
great.
so New York's more than just the best place to live.
It's also a great place
Actor
to
turned
play.
bass player Keanu Reeves made a quick stop in New York last night with his band Dog Star. Keanu, who shot to stardom in the movie Speed, caused an industry stir when he abandoned ship in Speed 2. He supposedly wanted to concentrate on his music. Some critics think he should stick to acting. Keanu says criticism usually doesn't bother him.
In general, we don't mind a review, good or bad, as long as they're reviewing the music. You know, if they mention songs and talk about songs and stuff like that, it's when we get reviewed that has nothing to do with the songs themselves, so we're just, you know, we dismiss it.
Yeah, I hate that too. Keanu's band has been together for 3 years. Hollywood's newest leading man is exploding onto the big screen this weekend in an out-of-this-world comedy, Men in Black. And look at who the wind blew in to chat with him. Robin Carter is back, and with a vengeance. We missed you, Robin.
Rosette, I missed you as well. It's quite a thrill to be back here. And now, onto a real thriller, from the Fresh Prince of television to the newest crown Prince of Hollywood. Will Smith headlines the summer's most anticipated movie that isn't a sequel. And these days, for the 28-year-old newly minted superstar, where there's a will, there's usually a mega hit.
Did you ever expect this? Are you surprised by all this?
I'm really surprised. I'm just like, I'm acting cool though, you know, that's my cool look.
I make this look good.
This is real willpower in action. It's Fandemonium as Moviedom's hippest alien buster invades Manhattan to hype his new movie, Men in Black.
That's what I call a close encounter.
Will's explosive rise to the top was born on the 4th of July, as last summer's money-making machine Independence Day catapulted him into Hollywood's newest summer box office hero and its latest $15 million man.
You are in the mega $15 million movie range. What does that feel like?
Well, I do this for the art of it. It's not about the money, it's about the art.
I say, yeah, right.
Step away from your busted-ass vehicle and put your hands on your head.
Hollywood veteran Tommy Lee Jones, who teams with Will as sci-fi super agents battling aliens in Men in Black's intergalactic blowout, thinks he knows the secret to this young gun's success.
Oh, he's a wonderful young man. He comes to work and really bears down until everybody on that set is happy. He's very generous. He's very kind. He's completely guileless and very smart. I really admire that young man.
Man in Black.
And what's not to admire? Will Smith is the new man of the moment with another surefire summer blockbuster on his hands and a hot single from the movie soundtrack. He's the guy who's got it all, including Live in Love actress Jada Pinkett.
That's because my sweetie just looks so good, you know? She just looks so good.
No, we're good together, baby.
And just how hot is Will Smith right now? Well, Men in Black director Barry Sonnenfeld, who directed The Addams Family, says he never wants to do another movie without Will Smith. That is, if he wants to have a hit. And they will be, in fact, teaming up again for the movie version of the 60s TV series, The Wild Wild West.
They leave Rikers Island. Under the cover of darkness, they're taken to a neighborhood in Queens and freed. Glenn Thompson is standing by live for us right now in Queens Plaza with more on this controversy. Glenn.
Well, Katie, a few hours from now, the buses will start rolling from Rikers Island, all of them packed with inmates as they are every night, and all of them headed here to their freedom at Queens Plaza. Let's go. The Rikers Express arrives. Hundreds of criminals, from petty thieves to drug dealers and prostitutes, some formerly convicted of crimes as serious as rape and even murder, released by corrections after serving their time in Long Island City under the cover of night. We asked you guys where you're going to go now?
I'm going home, kid. I'm going straight home.
You got a place to go?
Yeah, we're going home. I got a crib.
What do you think about just being dumped here in this corner?
Now, we jumped at the train station.
With a Metro card in hand, many of them bolt for the subway. Others, their next victim, winding up right back in the system.
A lot of people have got robbed around here. A lot of people is even scared just to come out here knowing that the prisoners get dropped off right here.
Simone should know. She's ridden the Rikers Express, only to be back on the street working. Why were you at Rikers, though?
Because I'm a hoe.
Because what?
Because I had did something very bad.
Peaches has ridden the Express more than a dozen times. Arrested, sent to jail, released to look for another hit or trick, then back to the slammer. Peaches, you're telling me you've been dropped off here 17 times?
Yeah. That's enough now, right?
You go to Rikers, you serve your time, and come back here? Is that it?
Yeah.
Fred is a former detective.
Streetwalkers, for instance, who come off Rikers Island. They're dropped off at this location. Their intention is strictly to get some quick money, buy some drugs, get high. They realize they're going to go right back to Rikers where they're going to be fed.
Tens of thousands of criminals ride the Express every year, only to be dumped in Queens Plaza right in your backyard.
Not only is it an unfair burden for this neighborhood, but it's unfair to the recently released inmates who have no idea where they are, and they're being dropped off in the middle of the night with little more than a pat on the back and a wish of luck.
Now, an outreach center for these inmates was opened here this week, but we could find very few takers among the inmates this morning. In the meantime, 60% of these inmates go on to commit other crimes. Reason enough, critics say, to end the drop-offs, something the Corrections Department says it will not do. We're live at Queens Plaza. I'm Glenn Thompson. Let's go back to Jim in the studio.
Very interesting. Thank you, Glenn. A horrible discovery today in New Jersey. 2 young children were found dead in their bed. Tonight, their mom is behind bars, accused of murdering her own children. Pamela Chan is live in Woodbridge now with the latest. Pam?
Jim, neighbors say the Valdez family moved into this 2-story house on Judy Drive about 8 months ago. By all accounts, they were a happy but private family. Those who knew Olga Lorena Valdez well, however, say there was trouble brewing within these 4 walls. What police are trying to figure out now is the history and circumstances that would lead a 28-year-old mother to take the lives of her 2 young daughters this morning. Emotionless as the charges were read, 28-year-old Olga Lorena Valdez stood before a judge this afternoon on charges she smothered her 2 young daughters to death with a pillow while they slept.
When the police and paramedics arrived, they were led to a second-floor bedroom where they found the bodies of the 2 Valdez children lying on a single bed.
Police were called to the Valdez house on Judy Drive in the Keysby section of Woodbridge around 6:30 this morning. They found 5-year-old Loriana and 1-year-old Larilis and tried to resuscitate the little girls, but they were pronounced dead an hour later. The prosecutor says it was the mother who called 911, and based on her statements, they made the arrest.
I'm upset, I'm hurt, and I'm hoping that this will prompt something to be done about domestic violence.
The girl's babysitter says Valdez called her last week to say she was leaving her husband and was taking her daughters. Catherine Ray tried to offer help, but never thought it would come to this.
I know that she was frightened and probably felt like, she didn't have anybody. But I thought that I did something to alleviate that by telling her that she could stay.
Tonight, as neighbors on this child-filled street light candles and place teddy bears in the girl's memory, they say the family seemed happy from the outside.
My heart just dropped to the floor. It's a shame.
Police say it doesn't appear that Olga Valdez has any prior record. The father, Edward Valdez Rodriguez, was at work at the time of the murders and is not at all considered a suspect. Olga Valdez has been charged with 2 counts of murder and is being held on $500,000 bail. Live tonight in Woodbridge, New Jersey, I'm Pamela Chan. For the WB11 News at 10, Kaidi, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Pamela. Some students were stabbed on Long Island today during an after-school knife fight. Witnesses say many people were involved in the brawl that started in a parking lot next to Baldwin High School. One of them was stabbed in the head several times. He ran to another nearby parking lot where he collapsed. Police say a teenager and a 24-year-old man are in the hospital tonight in serious condition. A second teenager escaped the fight with minor injuries.
A 26-year-old man is charged tonight in the stabbing death of a mother from Hempstead. Police arrested Terrell Thompson yesterday afternoon. They say he stabbed 33-year-old Jean McGuire 13 times last Sunday and left her bloody body lying next to her 2-year-old daughter. A neighbor heard the child crying and called police when she didn't get an answer at the door. Investigators say community members were of big help.
We had another individual that came forward and told us how Terrell Thompson was on the street bragging of how he killed this woman.
Investigators say that Thompson and McGuire were acquaintances. The motive is still unclear. A New Jersey rabbi was convicted today of killing his wife in a murder-for-hire plot. This was the second trial for Rabbi Fred Newlander of Cherry Hill. The first one ended in a hung jury. Prosecutors say the rabbi paid 2 men to beat his wife to death 8 years ago so he could continue an affair. The defense claimed the killing was a robbery gone bad. The jury will now decide if Newlander should be sentenced to death.
The prosecution rested today in the trial of a man accused of sucker-punching Yankees pitcher David Wells. Now it's the defense's turn to present testimony. Among the evidence presented to the jury, the 911 call made that night by Wells. Pauline Liu has more.
Today, Rocco Graziosa's friend took the stand for the defense to testify that the 27-year-old bartender from Yonkers acted in self-defense when he slugged Yankees pitcher David Wells in the jaw at a Manhattan diner in September. 2 of Boomer's teeth were knocked out, and he received a cut on the forehead when he fell.
He grabbed him physically. He's a big man, Mr. Wells.
David Wells got out of his booth, went over to Rocco Graziosa and grabbed him by the shoulder. That's what started the incident.
The defense claims the pinstriper was stinking drunk during the incident and that he can be heard slurring on his now infamous 911 call, which is riddled with curse words and ethnic slurs about his alleged attacker.
Goddamn cop right now.
Sir, stop cursing. Can you describe him?
Yeah, he's a malign. He's a fucking iron, real squatty body motherfucker.
He regrets some of the words he used. However, it was natural the way he spoke, under the circumstances, what he had just gone through.
Earlier in the day, Wells' personal trainer, who was with him at the diner that morning, testified that Graziosa lunged across a table when the Bronx bomber, shown here on the diner security video, went over to ask him to stop making insulting remarks about his late mother. When the case resumes tomorrow, Graziosa's cousin will take the stand to tell the jury what he saw that morning. As to whether or not Graziosa himself will testify, his lawyer says we'll just have to wait and see. In Manhattan, I'm Pauline Liu for the WB11 News at 10.
There was a guilty plea today from one of the men charged in that $3 million high-tech horse racing ripoff. 29-year-old Chris Harn of Delaware worked for the company that processed computerized bets on the Breeders' Cup and other major horse races. Harn implicated two college friends in the scheme by admitting he placed a bet and later modified it so it would win. The case has already brought about improved security and electronic wagering at tracks across the country. On Long Island, another alleged member of the Lucchese crime family was arrested today. 56-year-old Herman Fisher is the 17th suspected mobster rounded up in the past week. The suspects charged last week included the alleged underboss of the Lucchese family. Authorities say they're investigating allegations including construction payoffs, bid rigging, and restaurant extortion.
It's one of the most popular topless clubs in the city, drawing celebrities and big-name athletes who come to see some of the most attractive women in the stripper business. But a former Scores dancer says don't be fooled by appearances, and today she filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against the club. Marvin Scott joins us now with his exclusive report. Marvin.
Heidi Scores is a glitzy East Side emporium where sexual fantasies are aroused. Scantily clad and topless dancers are the lure. The rules of the house are clear. Customers can look but not touch. However, there is a double standard, according to one former dancer there, who claims sexual favors were a job requirement by some managers at the Gentlemen's Club, who she says were anything but gentlemen.
I've had a manager slap me on the butt, a manager grab my breasts a number of times, and I've actually had a manager say, I think we should have sex.
28-year-old Saroja Murphy is an aspiring model and actress who has been dancing in topless clubs across the country for 5 years. Last December, it was a dream come true when she landed a job at Scores, a Manhattan gentlemen's club that bills itself as a sports cabaret. The sport can be costly for customers, but quite lucrative for the dancers.
I started off making an average of $1,000 a night. I think the most I ever made was $1,758.
But Saroja says all the girls of the club weren't dancing to the same beat.
The girls that were more friendly to the management in that club definitely made the most money. You didn't make any money by going on stage. I either wanted to be doing dances for people on the floor making $20 a dance, or I wanted to be getting into the private room where I'd make $400 an hour.
But working the private VIP rooms, sometimes frequented by high-profile customers with deep pockets, often was at the behest of the VIP host, an employee known as the gatekeeper.
If he got you into the room, it was understood that you'd give him 20% of what you own.
And according to this former Scores dancer, regardless of the no-touching edict, money has more clout than rules.
If the customers would pay or tip the VIP host enough, he'd look the other way and let the customers touch you too.
And if a customer needed more cash, they could always use a credit card to purchase Scores Diamond Dollars, which, according to the former dancer, cost the buyer 20% of the face value, and dancers another 10% to cash in the funny money. In the sexual harassment suit filed in Manhattan Supreme Court, Saroja Murphy claims the people she worked for made her feel like a cheap, sleazy object.
They're grabbing and slapping and propositioning, and the VIP host exposed himself to me. Just because you dance naked or semi-naked for a living doesn't mean that you should be grabbed and groped by the people that you're working for.
What happened to you after you rebuffed them?
When you don't go along with that, you don't get the good customers, you don't make the big money. They limited my opportunities to get into the VIP room. My money got progressively worse.
Saroja claims she was unfairly deprived of earning good money, and her lawyers say they're prepared to counter any potential argument by Scores that she was an independent contractor and that they owed her no guarantees.
She wasn't independent. They dictated her hours, they dictated what she wore, what she paid them, what she was paid, and they threatened her and other dancers with termination if they worked elsewhere.
I wasn't the only girl that they were mean to, and I think that I'm doing this so they won't do this to anyone else. My time at Scores is over.
Saroja said conditions and her earnings ability got to be so bad she decided to leave Scores last month, and she's now dancing in a New Jersey club where she's not making as much as she used to, but at least she says she is getting respect. Incidentally, Saroja was not among the dancers seen in that amateur video. I apprised Scores management of the dancers' allegations in this legal action, but they said no, they had no immediate comment because they hadn't yet seen the sexual harassment suit that was filed just this morning. And Jim Kitey, Saroja told me that the girls who did keep in step earned as much as $200,000 or more a year at Scores.
Okay, thank you, Marvin. When we come back on the news at 10, major medical news about a cancer vaccine, plus Mr. G's first look at weather.
Also, you thought you were smart to stay away from them, but are those junk food treats actually good for your brain?
And speaking of brains, what's going on inside Michael Jackson's? Coming up, is standing by live on the West Side with more. Kathy.
Kitey, this mixed reaction to an idea that's really just a proposal for now, one of several solutions that the city is now considering in order to try to end the current homeless crisis.
Okay, I want to build my house.
56-year-old Kevin, homeless in New York for 2 years. His nightly routine making his bed on the steps of the Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church. Most of the men here know the city is now looking for new ways to house homeless people like them, including using retired cruise ships, an idea Kevin hopes sinks faster than the Titanic.
I think it's another way of getting rid of the homeless off the streets. I mean, you know, like warehousing us.
Homeless in the Big Apple, now at an all-time high. Some 36,000 people sleeping in shelters each night. The overflow prompting the city to now consider ships as shelters. City officials using Mayor Bloomberg's private jet today to fly to the Bahamas to look at 3 retired cruise ships. The head of the city's homeless services department saying, quote, "We assess their potential to be reworked into shelter capacity that meets our high standards for health and safety." But homeless advocates who today brought homeless children to the steps of City Hall say the solution is more low-income housing for the homeless.
Cruise ships is not the answer to the homeless problem in New York.
But not all of the homeless agree.
It can work, but is it a true plan? Don't get our hopes up and we go down and advocate for this and he does none.
Mayor Bloomberg has proposed different types of shelters before, including turning a former Bronx jail into a shelter. But a judge stopped that. We're live on the West Side tonight. I'm Kathy Hobbs, WB11 News at 10. Jim, back to you.
That Michael Jackson baby dangling incident certainly had people talking today. He apologized today, but still many people are wondering, was the eccentric pop star just being playful, or is he an unfit father? Vanessa Tyler has more.
People are still talking about this scary scene, 4 frightening stories high, and still asking, what's the matter with Michael?
I think maybe he's going crazy. He can't take it anymore.
It's ridiculous. I don't know why he did that.
I felt chills going through my body. To tell you the truth, I thought he was going to drop the baby.
Rita Hayes couldn't imagine endangering her grandson. The same with new mother Joanne Serto.
We have a deck, and I would never bring the baby close to the railing.
I think Michael Jackson's crazy.
Somebody's got to help him. He needs to see a psychiatrist.
Wondering if Jacko was going wacko, renowned psychologist Dr. Joyce Brothers.
I don't think he's losing it in the true sense of being mentally ill. I do think he's losing it because he's seeing all the success, all the adulation. He's seeing it slip from his grasp.
Also almost slipping from his grasp, his 8-month-old son, Prince Michael II. Jackson is now apologizing, saying what he did off a balcony of a Berlin hotel was a mistake. Dr. Brothers says he was caught up in the moment, trying to please the crowd.
Are crazy.
As many dismiss Michael Jackson with the one word crazy, others wonder if the entertainer just put on a show that bombed. Audiences agree the show he gave didn't entertain, but left them wondering if the baby wasn't the only one over the edge. Vanessa Tyler, WB11 News at 10.
Well, Queen Latifah is the latest celebrity busted for drunk driving. California police say Latifah was pulled over in her 2003 Cadillac for making an unsafe lane change. They say they charged the hip-hop star with driving under the influence of alcohol after she failed a sobriety test.
It's one of those jobs, like being a baseball umpire. If you don't notice them, they're probably doing a great job. So it is for one of the most important and unusual jobs in the movie business, the Foley artist. Lolita Lopez joins us now with tonight's Odd Job. Lolita.